Yeah. Episode 62, Our League Podcast. I'm on after the duo Eds alongside my co-host, my brother, my brethren, Ethan. And we're joined by our favorite guest, Anthony, my main man. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm really good, mate. Yeah. You too? You okay?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Good.
Brilliant. No football this week. International football. How have you lot coped?
Yes, I mean, you said it yourself there. You said no football this weekend. Like, I know you didn't mean that, but that's how it feels, isn't it? Although, to be fair, I watched England Thursday. I really enjoyed it.
I didn't know they were playing.
You didn't know they were playing?
I didn't know they were playing.
I thought it was really good. I thought first half we were brilliant. Second half, it was like a different team, literally a different team. But it was a decent game. It was hanging on at the end because we obviously had a man sent off. But yeah, I enjoyed it. And I'm going to watch the game today. You know we're playing today, Ed?
No, I didn't know that. Who are we playing?
You know you run a football podcast, don't you?
Who are we playing?
Ukraine.
Yeah, Ukraine.
Is it in England? I would hope.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to play in the Ukraine, are they? But I wonder where the away game will be, actually. That's the point.
I think they play in Poland, their away games. I think.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Where they are?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
More importantly, have Ghana played? Is he all right, man?
I know they were going to a game. I think they might be playing today.
They played on Thursday. Also, they played against Angola and scored the 96th minute goal.
Who is it that scored?
What's his name? He plays for Bristol City.
I know who you're talking about. No, I think he's at Bournemouth now. You know.
Oh yeah, he moved to Bournemouth. Is it Semenyo?
Semenyo, yeah.
That's what he's called. Yeah.
How come? Do you know what I've noticed? A lot of the lower leagues, some of those guys transfer a new team every year. Why is that the case? Is it just teams fighting for promotion or like getting to the playoffs and stuff?
I couldn't tell you, to be fair. It's odd, but he's a good player, to be fair. So I reckon he'll move up to maybe a top Premier League team because he did display some good performances in the Championship.
Because you know that striker Jamal Lau or something. I think he's at Swansea now.
Yeah.
He was on like 5 teams in 5 years, and he's not a rubbish player at all. He's a good player, but it's just always
he's at QPR now.
Is he at QPR now? See, there we
go. Yeah. He's at QPR now.
Last time I heard he was at Swansea. Then he started at Barnet, I think. Then Watford. Yeah. He's been all over the shop. But
I think at that level you get like because they're not on massive amounts. If a team one season have got a bigger budget, they could just offer him. You know, teams just need a goal scorer, don't they? It's so important to have a goal scorer. They'll just offer him higher wages. He'll go to that team. If they don't get promotion, he'll go to another team who've got a big budget. I think that's probably. It's doing wages. They got to get as much as they can while they're playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like Dwight Gale. He'll go around.
Dwight Gale. Oh my god.
He'll go around Championship because he's a prolific Championship.
He'll still score goals. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. That's it.
He is a goal. All right. Cool. Sticking with England, Harry Kane became England's all-time record goal scorer, surpassing Rooney. Has he done it in fewer games? I think he's done it in fewer games, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
So obviously, like Harry Kane, you know, I've given him criticism just because he's Spurs, but like in the grand scheme of things, the guy is a quality player. What have you made of his time? And I'll start with you first. What have you made of his career thus far? As long as people were saying that he's a one season wonder and stuff like that, playing in the lower leagues, going at Leicester, and then now he's just becoming this prolific goal scorer. I know he hasn't got the prettiest game, which is somewhat of a hindrance to him in his career and when comparison with other guys. But what you've made of Kane?
I mean, he's still unbelievable. It's so weird being an Arsenal fan when you watch him differently when he plays for England. How you watch him when he plays for Tottenham, if that makes sense. Like you want him to foul when he's playing for Tottenham, and you see a different side. But when you're watching England, you realise how good he is because you want him to do well. Succeed. Yeah. You see how good he is, his hold-up play, everything. I think he's evolved as well as a striker, obviously dropping deeper a lot more in the last couple of years. But, I mean, I was thinking about it earlier. When you sent the what we're going to talk about, you said about Kane, and I was thinking, like when Owen come through into the England squad, you could see this kid's going to be around for 10 years, going to score a load of goals. Rooney come through, he's going to be around for 10 years, score a load of goals. Kane, when he first started, he's going to be the same. There's no one else after Kane. Like, there's no young kid coming through. He will have that record for 30 years.
Do you reckon?
There is. I mean, listen, someone could come through in 10 years. Don't get me wrong. But there is no one, is there? Like, Ivan Toney is the next. I like him as a player, but he ain't going to go and score 50 goals for England.
No.
So listen, and people say about 18 of the record, 18 of them were penalties. So what? You still got to score. You know what I mean?
Goals a goal.
You still got to score a penalty, and that proved it in the World Cup. You know, you missed a penalty, we're out. So it takes. You still got to score it, but like I say, it's an unbelievable record, and it will be there for a long, long time. It will be for a long time.
What about you, Eve?
Yeah, he's got all these records now. He's obviously Spurs top goal scorer, and now England. He just needs a trophy now just to cement his greatness, really. It's obviously not nice that obviously in the World Cup 2018 we had that opportunity to possibly go to the final, the Euros final. He's had the Champions League final. He's been in the big games and he hasn't displayed it. So it's tough on him, but yeah, hopefully he can get a trophy. Probably not with Spurs, but yeah, probably.
He's got to move, hasn't he? He's got to.
Yeah, he's got to move in the summer. Hopefully he'll move on to bigger and better things.
Yeah. So like talking on staying on Harry Kane, obviously before the international break, his manager went on an absolute tear of the players, of the board and stuff like that. He's since retracted it and said he wasn't directing it at the board, but he was. That's two managers in a row now, two elite managers in a row now that have won major trophies that have said this mentality of this club just stinks. And I've alluded to it before, and Spurs fans have given me a hard time in the comments and stuff like that. But if the two managers in a row are saying it now, clearly that is the case. So Spurs, because they're on the cusp of doing great things, right? Well, they were on the cusp. I think they've missed their timetable now. I think they've gone. I think Arsenal are now the team that have replaced them. Chelsea, I have no doubt Chelsea will be back again next season. City, United, we'll see about Liverpool. But touching on the Kane thing, do you think he should leave or should he just stick it out and just be a one-man team? Because obviously the rumours are linking him with United now, aren't they?
I think he has to now. He has to. He was so close to the Man City transfer, and I think it's not a secret. Daniel Levy said, "Look, give us one more year, and then we'll give you a move." Like with Ferguson did with Ronaldo, just give us one more year. And I think now he's got to. Everything that's happened. The only thing that might make him stay is if Pochettino comes back. They had a good relationship, didn't they? It may make him stay because they might go and win. They're not going to win the league. We all know that. They might go and win the Europa League or the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup. They're well capable of doing that. They're well capable of winning that sort of cup. I mean, going out to Sheffield United, what a chance that was for them to have a good run in the FA Cup. They get through, get Sheffield United, they get Blackburn in the next round. You know what I mean? And, they had a massive chance. And listen, I thought it's hilarious. Don't get me wrong. I hate Tottenham, but everything's there for them. They've got the best striker in the world, best number 9 in the world. They've got the best stadium in the world, one of the best managers in the world. Yet it still didn't work. So it needs to be looked at. They need to rip everything back, I think, and start afresh, like the way we did. We went through a few horrible.
Does Levy need to leave?
I don't know. Listen, they spent money. They spent more money than Arsenal in the summer, so he's given them money. And I wouldn't. People say he's making the wrong decisions. I don't think Conte was the wrong decision. You want to bring him in. You want to win something. Just win something. Get over the line in some competition. Bring in someone like Conte. Bring in someone like Mourinho. There's just something obviously wrong at the club, other than the managers. I think they need to strip everything back now and have a look at it all because everything's in place, the infrastructure's there, and it's just there must be something lacking. There must be something. It must be the players got to start afresh.
Yeah, go on, Eve.
Yeah, no, it's a weird one with Spurs because everything's been in place for them to go and do big things and. Yeah, I kind of do think it's a Levy thing. I think he concentrates on the business side of things. I know the whole Beyonce thing, like he's added another day in for her so they could make some money off of it. So yeah, he's just a typical businessman. I don't really think he cares about the results that much. I know he spent a bit with Tottenham. I just think maybe it is a bit of a mentality thing with Spurs as well. They are a bit Spursy.
Yeah, mentality.
That's it. I don't know. It's a combination of things with Spurs. I just don't know how they get out of being the way they are. That's it.
I think mentality thing because it was a couple of seasons ago. They were a weekend away from a final, and then they sacked Mourinho. that lets you know everything. That let me know everything about that football club I needed to know. Like they don't want to win, because they must have had like a stipulation in the contract.
Yeah.
If he wins, he gets like a couple million bonus or whatever. And they went for Mason, and then obviously whatever happened. But I think if Harry Kane goes, it's going to be a long time till you see Tottenham in that top four again. Because remember the Gareth Bale thing? They brought in a bunch of players for him, and it took them a while to get going again.
Yeah.
Like if they let Harry Kane go, who's their next guy? Richarlison? Richarlison's the next guy. And he's a good player. I like Richarlison.
He is a good player. He's good, but God knows what's happened there. He don't look the same player at all. He don't look the same player at all. But do you remember that there was a week where they bought Richarlison, they bought Basuma out of the blue, and I thought, oh my God, they're going to be challenging here. But Basuma, I thought, was a great signing. I spoke to you.
We wanted him.
Didn't we?
Yeah, we wanted
him bad. You kept saying it at work. We want Basuma, Basuma. Basuma and Partey would have been phenomenal.
Oh, mate.
He don't even get in the team.
No.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I think and I harp on this a lot of the time. I don't really care about big money signings. I just want efficient guys to come through the door. Do you know what I mean? Like a Martinelli, for example. Just by his style of play, I knew give this guy like 4 or 5 years, he's going to be an absolute weapon. And now look at him. He's on 10 plus goals. In terms of signings, it's just about the right signings and the mentality.
It is, yeah.
That's what it is. And like,
I don't think Conte helps though. I think he had this at Chelsea when we won the league the first season.
Yeah.
And then he complained about making the right signings and he was given the right funding. And then he'll turn in interviews like you saw last week where he'll blame them for having this mentality. He'll blame the board. He'll direct stuff towards he's just looking for it out at the moment. But he did it similarly at Chelsea.
He only lasts a couple of years, isn't he? He only lasts a couple of years.
He lasts a couple of seasons at club. That's what he does. He does this rant where he'll go at the board and look for a way out, and then look for his next project.
But the thing is, I was thinking he's begging to be sacked to get a payoff. But he's only contracted till the end of the season anyway, so he won't get a massive payoff. But he's done. He's done now. Surely, I thought it'd have been announced by now that he's gone. But then, what do? Do you bring someone in? Do you give it to Ryan Mason to the end of the season to try and get your Champions League? I can't see Ryan Mason. I think they're going to massively struggle to get Champions League now. I think Chelsea. I think with Chelsea a bit far off. I think Liverpool probably get it. How far are you behind, Eve? Are you too far behind?
Oh yeah, too far behind now. The only way we can make it is winning the actual competition now. So.
Oh, of course. Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
But sticking on international football, I want to ask you this question, Ant, first. What is the decline in international football in terms of like the attractiveness? Now, obviously I'm from Northwest London, you're from North London. So for us to get to Wembley is not that far. Like like a few years ago when my brother was younger, I used to take him to quite often to watch England play at Wembley, but now that I have less time on my hands. But like I was just saying, I didn't even know England was playing. I saw I sent you the clip earlier of Harry Redknapp saying that he can't wait until international breaks over because he hates international football and stuff like that. What do you think is the main thing for like friendlies essentially like not being a pivotal thing? Is it the network they're showing on? Is it the fact that maybe there's so much content nowadays with like Netflix, YouTube and stuff like that? People's attention is elsewhere unless it's like a major tournament.
I think both of them points are correct. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot to do with it as well. It comes from the players as well. Look at Rashford has pulled out of 5 of the last 6 squads. Players don't want to be there in friendlies, which then translates to the fans. If he don't want to be there, players are putting out all the time. They're bringing people in that maybe don't deserve international caps, but just because people are putting out, they've got to bring someone else in.
Yeah,
it's not like it used to be. It was the be all and end all playing for England. And I don't know if we're going to talk about later what the best era of football was. I think a lot of that, for me, the one I'm going to talk about is linked with international football as well, and it's changed so much. I think players are earning so much money at their clubs. The clubs are paying the money. If they go to international duty and get injured, not that the clubs. I feel the clubs might be telling them to pull out. Although I think there probably is a little bit of that actually. I mean, Rashford pulled out with a bad toe, and now he's in New York walking about.
Yeah,
it's I think he is, isn't he? He's not on a beach
with his
holiday.
missus. With his missus.
Yeah, he's on a city break where you're walking about all day. So I think there's a link between that, players pulling out, and then fans must think, well, they don't care. Why should we care? Do you know what I mean? It's sort of, it's got like that. It's got a bit farcical, I think.
I totally agree with that. Yeah, I think. Yeah, even networks changing, so it's changed to Channel 4 now, hasn't it?
Yeah, like I don't like. Come on, what we
so
doing?
yeah, that's not any. Yeah, Channel 4 isn't a serious sort
It's
of.
not. It's not. Let's before I touch on the last Premier League results. Roy Hodgson back to Crystal Palace. Is that serious or is that a joke? What do you think, Ethan? I could tell by your smile you think that's a bit of a joke. That is.
I think it's just to get them over this little blip that they've got. I think till the end of the season is the contract, I believe. So, yeah, if he gets them over this hurdle of staying up in the Premier League, which I think they will, I think they'll go on and get someone better to manage the club. But yeah, I can't believe they've done Patrick Vieira like this. I believe he did a good job last season, and yeah, I don't know. I think
we called it the game before, though, innit? We called it the week before.
We spoke about it previously, but I don't know what they want with Crystal Palace. I don't know whether they've seen the model of Newcastle and they're pushing on, or other teams are pushing on. I don't know, but I just believe they're a club that just wants to stay up in the top flight, and that's it really. I don't think they should be expecting more from this team.
Yeah, it's not really much quality. What's your thoughts on that, Ant?
Yeah, I mean, it's a strange one. Last year, everyone was saying how well he'd done, and he was the next big thing. They come 12th last year. They're 12th now, and they've sacked him. So I know it is very tight down the bottom. If they lose another 2 games on the bounce, a couple of teams win below them, they're banging trouble. It's the whole. They could look like they couldn't buy a goal towards the end. I know they scored against us from a corner, but I watched them against, and then massive rivals with Brighton. And what Ethan was saying there, looking at other teams, Brighton are probably a team, Brentford, they look at thinking they've probably spent as much money as us. Look at them. They're on the cusp of getting European football, both of them. So maybe that's what it is. They're looking elsewhere. And like Ethan says, just get over the line with Hodgson, keep them up, and then build again in the summer, put some money in. I think they spent about 40-50 million last year. It's not enough, really. It's not enough to be up challenging. I mean, the challenging from Europe, but mid-table even. It's although Brighton probably haven't spent that much, but they're an unbelievably well-run club, and they've got a scout.
They make a lot of money, though, innit? They make a lot of money, Brighton. We've given them like 100 million. We've given them 100 million plus.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, their turnover. I saw a thing on the other day. Their turnover was something ridiculous, 100 million or something, and they hadn't even put into that Cucurella going
and stuff and all that.
And Cucurella going. This was before the Cucurella transfer, which was 60 odd mil.
Yeah.
And the Basuma transfer, so another 100 million to go on to that. Trossard's then gone since. But their scouting system is unbelievable. I know they took a few scouts to Chelsea with Potter. But they've still finding these players from Ecuador and places like that. It's incredible.
Yeah. We've spoken about Brighton a lot over the last couple of years on this podcast. Like, I don't understand why they're not a destination team. Like, it's on the south coast, cost of living is cheaper. On the train, an hour from London, in the car, hour and a half. It's in the Premier League. But like you're saying, that the scouting system, that's why I don't really have sympathy for other teams, because and I say it all the time, and I've said it before, there's a guy in the Danish league that's 2 moves away from being a Premier League superstar. It's just that teams ain't going out to get him. For example, when we was linked with Modric, I was telling you the whole time, I don't really fancy it, because he's had a couple of appearances in the Champions League, but 80 million for a guy that's not really proven, not playing competitive football week in, week out. I rather Trossard, which I said, and people laughed at me, and people are still laughing at me now, but who scored more goals and assists for their team? It's Trossard. Do you know what I mean? Premier League proven guy, cheaper as well. So yeah, like their scouting team's phenomenal. Why don't other teams do that? I don't know, but they are bringing in this new thing, which is going to make it difficult for teams like Brighton, which there's a banned category of the players that are going to be accepted to get work visas for Premier League football. So, for example, someone like Martinelli, if we had tried to buy him like 2 seasons from now, that deal would have been rejected. We probably would have had to buy him and then loan him out to like a Belgian team or something like that, just to get the ball rolling. So, I'd like to see how a team like Brighton does moving forward. but it's going to put more. I think that they said the FA said they're trying to put more emphasis on bringing through young English players, which I understand. But at the same time, this league is the most watched league because it has the most international players, isn't it? In it, so Premier League results now. Ethan, you lot drew 2-2 with Everton your last game, innit?
Yeah, last week. Yeah.
Sim scored last minute goal. We spoke about him the week before as well, saying that he don't score enough goals, which is absolutely a funny one. But your main man, Kyle Havertz scored. Obviously Chelsea a few games in the bounce that have been playing well now. Like, are you more optimistic than you was before January?
Yeah, I would say so. I'm happy with obviously staying in the Champions League. The result against Borussia Dortmund was massive, and that turned some of the results into positive ones. But yeah, this one I was disappointed with because we led twice in the game.
Yeah,
2 stupid goals really. Defensively, we weren't at it. I've said time and time again, I'm not the biggest fan of Koulibaly, and he showed with that second goal with Sims. But yeah, no, it's a positive. In terms of goals now, we're scoring. Felix looks good. Kai Havertz also is back to some sort of form. But yeah, I'm looking forward to next season now. I can't wait until this season's done.
Is Potter still the man for the job? Do you reckon? Because Nagelsmann's now on the market.
Give it. Yeah, you've got to give him time. I think. Yeah, we're seeing some of the stuff that he's implementing with this team now. He's set 11 now. You can see as well. So yeah, I'm happy with him as so far. But we'll have to see next season.
And also, the Inter director has come out and said Lukaku's not coming back next year because he's just not been up to it. Is there a place for him in Graham Potter's system?
I think he'll give him a try. I think you're only right to give him a try. He hasn't managed him before, so he can't really base it off of previous. But yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how he fits Lukaku in this system. But if you get Lukaku up and running, he's lethal in the Premier League.
We've seen it 20 plus.
Yeah, we've seen it time and time before. So yeah, who knows? Who knows with Lukaku?
Again, speaking on the team which the manager ranted about, Southampton 3, Spurs 3, James Ward-Prowse last minute goal. And did you watch this game or the highlights? And what have you thought of Southampton?
I saw the highlights, yeah, and I think I put on our WhatsApp group, didn't I? I said there is nothing more Tottenham than that. Ethan said Spursy earlier. There is nothing more Spursy.
Yeah,
3-1 up against a team that are poor. They are poor. Southampton.
Yeah.
Feel sorry for Ward-Prowse. They was talking on the radio the other day. Talk about going back to the England squad. Like, it's incredible that he's not in the England squad. That kid. Considering who he is picking for England in terms of Calvin Phillips, played 56 minutes for Premier League football, whatever it is this year, played 90 minutes the other night. To be fair, he played all right, but on paper you'd think Ward-Prowse has been incredible, and I think it is because he's playing for the team who are bottom that he hasn't picked him. I really do. But Tottenham were poor. I mean, it was game done. I think Paul Merson was doing the game in the Sky Sports, and as the third goal went in, he went, "That's it, game done. Just a matter of how many now." And then all of a sudden, bang, bang. I think it's absolutely hilarious. I absolutely love it. And the rant was brilliant. Some of it, well, quite a lot of it, I think was warranted, what he said. Maybe, I don't know how you should do it that publicly, but I think a lot of it was the truth. Yeah. And the truth hurts, doesn't it, sometimes? So, I don't know. It was poor. Southampton, I think they're gone, though. I really do. I think they're gone.
You reckon, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. I really do. They've missed a striker, haven't they? They had Brozier last year. They've missed someone up top. I know he didn't score that many goals, but he was a focal point. Everything played off him. Well, is he out, Eve? Is he done for the season?
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah, he's done for the season. I know he's in rehab because he did his ACL.
He did his ACL, that's right, yeah.
Done for the season. Good player as well. Arsenal 4, Crystal Palace 1. I was so annoyed that Schlupp scored a goal. I was really annoyed because I love clean sheet. I love clean sheets because goal difference. You never know the way this Premier League goes now, mate. Martinelli 28th minute, Saka 43rd and 74th, Xhaka 55th, and Schlupp 63rd. What did you make of the performance, Ant?
It was similar to the Everton game, really, where we didn't start that quick. Everton at home, when we didn't start that quick, and literally that first goal made all the difference. As soon as we got the first goal, do you remember against Everton, we got 2 like just before half time. I know the Martinelli goal was a bit earlier, but we just needed that goal to settle down. I find that at home a lot. It's quite hard to break teams down. Teams are now coming and just setting up, aren't they? Just setting up,
parking the bus.
And we got to get used to that. I mean, we got to get used to that. But yeah, breaking them down. I thought Ben White and Saka were brilliant. The combinations they had. Still a joke. There's something going on with Ben White, not to be in the England squad. Something's happened. I don't know if it'll ever come out, but I know there was talk of what he had around with one of the coaching staff or whatever. But it's silly that he's not in the squad. He played really, really well Saturday. And it's just, I know it's a real cliche, and all the Arsenal players are saying it now, but it's just literally one game at a time now. You have to.
It is. Yeah.
I'm struggling to do it. I'm looking ahead and thinking, right, we'll probably win there. We'll probably get a draw. You can't. You've just got to go. Yeah. Leeds will be tough. We've got Leeds at home next Saturday.
Yeah.
They're fighting for their lives. They scored 4 at Wolves. So that's going to be tricky. It's literally getting over the line in each game. I don't care how we play now. Just need to win.
Eve, what's your old man saying about the Gooners?
Yeah, no, he's excited. He's still happy. He's one of those. He'll because me and my brother were Chelsea fans growing up. So he's seen obviously the times where we were gloating in his face and like sticking it to him. So now he's just like, "What are you saying? What's happening with Chelsea?" so yeah, he's happy at the moment. But like you guys, he's taking it step by step, one game at a time, and yeah. He's looking forward to lifting that trophy at the end of the season.
So when you was younger and you bought Chelsea kits, was it your mum that bought it? Because if
to be fair, my dad.
I wouldn't buy my kid another kit. I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
No, my dad got me. Yeah, I remember one birthday. I probably turned 7. My dad bought me a full Chelsea kit. Yeah, from the Mega Store. Yeah.
I'm not doing that, me. I'm not doing it. If you're not Arsenal, you're not a football fan. It's not happening, mate. I'm a shithouse like that. But yeah, no. Speaking about the boys, oh mate, I'm over the moon. Game by game, though, man. But you know what I did find funny a few weeks ago? Arteta said we're ahead of schedule. He said we're only in phase 3 of a 5-phase plan, which kind of scary, to be honest. Like, what does that mean? Like, what does that actually mean? Does that mean that we're going big game hunting in terms of the players we're trying to attract? Does it mean he has his eyes set on the Champions League? I mean, we haven't been in a Champions League final since 2006. We haven't won a Premier League title since 2004. So it's scary. And you know what? I gave them a lot of slack. I didn't like Arteta. I was a big Arteta out guy. I still hate playing at the back. I was giving Edu some slack. But what they've done in terms of like getting out all the bad eggs and bringing in their guys and implementing a style of football that works towards them, you have to give them all the credit. Martinelli, as you know, and is a guy that I've always loved. Yes. And I remember you said to me a few years ago, once he gets his end product, he's going to be unstoppable, which is left foot, right foot headers now. Yeah. Absolutely beautiful. Bukayo Saka, I think after Zaha, he's the most forward player in the game, but he's added a bit of muscle and his finishing now. Like, I remember watching an interview of his and he said, someone asked him, what has Arteta done to develop your game? He said, little details like how I angle my body positioning when I receive a ball would dictate how the ball comes to me and how I'm able to progress the ball forward and stuff like that.
100%. Funny you say that, because my eldest plays out on the wing for his Sunday team. And I was watching him the other day and I was thinking, something's not right with it. Harry's receiving the ball. And then I realised that he was always receiving it with his back to goal. So the fullback had the ball when he was back to goal. And then he's trying to turn. As he's trying to turn, the defender's just going bang. And then I said to him, like, you've got to try and receive the ball on the half turn. And I said, he's put my two boys put Tottenham, hasn't he? So I said, I know you don't like him. I said, but watch Bukayo Saka. His back is always to the touchline. Every time he receives the ball, he's on the half turn. He can see the whole pitch. He knows exactly what's happening. He knows where the defender is. Whereas if you've got your back, you don't know where the defender is. And that's a massive, and that's exactly what you've just said there. Receiving the ball, he's always on the half turn. He's always got his back towards the touchline, looking at everything. And it's intelligence. And it's little minor details like that whether it's Arteta that's brought that in, if that's what he said, then it's made such a difference to him. And it's going back to what you said about Martinelli. He always looked quite erratic, didn't he? He looked you could see he was very raw. There was a player there, but he'd be running with the ball and he'd knock it too far and things like that. But now it's like you look at Trossard when the ball's it's like he's on a bit of string tied to his feet. Martinelli's getting like that, sticking to him, right foot, left foot.
Yeah.
And he talked about the plan and being ahead of schedule. I'm assuming this year was just try and get the Champions League. That was would have been the aim. Last year, probably try and get in the Europa League, which we did. We should have got Champions League. So this year would have been Champions League. Next year, going for the titles. We're probably a season ahead of schedule. But yeah, it'd just be interesting to see in terms of this plan. Are they going to sling money at it next year or build with what we got?
But touching on what you said, I just think the ruthlessness of Edu and Arteta is something which we've lacked in years gone.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's fully appreciated. Nagelsmann being fired from Bayern, that just came out of the blue. Now, I normally do watch German football quite closely, especially Bayern and Dortmund games. They're only 1 point behind Dortmund in the league. I think they're still in the Champions League. I'm not sure how the performance is looking. I know the board are very vocal and very critical and stuff like that. But yeah, that was very out of the blue. What's your lot's thoughts on that one? And Tuchel being the new manager.
Well, I think with Nagelsmann, did you know that he was the most expensive manager ever?
Yeah, they paid 25 million to get him.
25 mil to get him. So it's the most. Yeah. I mean, it's mad that you only pay that amount for a manager and then you go and pay fucking 60 mil for an average player. And
he's still got 3 years left on his deal, 2026. Is that what he has? Yeah.
But managers can change the club completely. You know what I mean? And you're only giving 20 million, 25 million for that was a world record. I mean, listen, he's so young, isn't he? He's so young. When he first started at Hoffenheim, I think he was like 28.
Yeah.
So what's he, 35 now, something like that? You know, it is a bit harsh. It is a little bit harsh, but you're at the one of the biggest clubs in the world, and you've got to perform. You know, they won the league last season. What that point behind you saying?
Yeah, just a point behind Dortmund. Yeah,
but what they probably expect them to be 10 clear by now. Do you know what I mean?
They did lose their most lethal striker of all time. Yeah, they didn't really replace him. Like, what do you want the guy to do?
Yeah, and you never know what's happening behind the scenes in terms of players because he is so young. I mean, he's only a couple of years older than Mane. You know what I mean? It must be strange being told what to do and by someone who's only a couple of years older than you. You know what I mean? It's with the if you got the respect there with the senior pros. But yeah, Tuchel's a good manager, man. Tuchel's a good manager. They'll be all right, Bayern Munich. And I think he'll probably come to England, won't he, Nagelsmann? Do you think?
They're saying he's apparently saying he's quoted with Spurs.
Yeah, he's quoted with Tottenham. Yeah, so good. Yeah.
I wouldn't go Spurs if I was him. And then touching on Spurs, we may have spoken about this before, especially with you on the pod. But Dele Alli's decline now. His manager of Besiktas said that he went missing and then he didn't report back, and then apparently he was given authorization to go to London for a doctor's appointment. So Lord knows where the truth is on that. But have we ever seen, and you're a bit older than us, so have you ever seen such a rapid decline in a player in that amount of time? From the Netflix All or Nothing when Mourinho said you're a shit trainer. Is that part of it as well? You think people are because we got a behind the scene glimpse of their own manager saying you're a shit trainer, and then now everyone's perspective on him is just that he's not a star player? Or is it just the performances as well on the pitch? Or is it a case of as well of maybe he got too much too soon, too much celebrity, too much money? We know he likes the girls and stuff. Yeah,
I think so. I mean, that Mourinho, it's a good point actually. I've never thought of it like that, whether it sort of embarrassed him and he sort of, down tools from there. I don't know, but it turns out Mourinho was right, didn't he? The potential was unbelievable. He was incredible. Remember the World Cup? He was first name on the sheet, a team sheet with Kane. He was phenomenal. I mean,
do you remember his goal against Palace?
I mean, that was one of the best goals ever in the Premier League. It was incredible. And he was doing things like that every week. And I think his record at Tottenham was not. I think he got to play. I looked the other day. It was 180 games and 50 goals. I won in 3. It's still a decent record for a central midfielder. Yeah. And he just fell off a cliff. And you just said there, do you remember any other players like that? I don't think nothing springs to mind like that, where he just completely fell off a cliff. I mean, recent times you thought maybe Ozil was the same sort of thing. I don't really know, but I don't know what's happened to him at Besiktas. You know, Everton, he only played 13 games, never scored a goal. Besiktas, he's played about the same 13 games. He's only got a couple of goals. What's he now? 26, 27?
Yeah.
Similar age to us a lot, yeah.
Not me.
No, to me and Eve. Let me check right now. 1 sec.
It's just this should be your best time of your career, but like this is when they should be coming into their
26.
their prime.
26.
That's
Oh,
what he is,
26. Oh.
He should be in his prime right now. So is it a
exactly.
case of maybe he peaked early as well? Maybe.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's such. I think you're right. We may have spoke about this before because it rings a bell now. He didn't do it. Or maybe it's worked in the other opposite way. I thought, you know, sometimes when they come through youth academies at top clubs, they're pampered, they're wrapped in cotton wool, but he come through MK Dons, so you'd think he'd be the other way, where he.
But
knows
he went to
how
Spurs
tough it
quite
is.
early though. He went to Spurs.
He went to
like
Spurs
18,
early,
19.
but he's worked his way up through. He's played in them shitty leagues, you know. He played at shit away grounds and things like that.
Yeah.
He's not been pampered all the way through, so you'd think he'd appreciate all the good stuff when he does get it. But he's gone the other way. He's gone too far, where it's just, right, I've made it now. I've been at MK Dons. I've made it now. Maybe that's what it is, but where you'd think it'd be the other way around. He knows how bad it is in them lower leagues. Not bad, but you know what I mean? How tough it is in them lower leagues.
Yeah.
But these guys, I don't know, he's gone. He's gone. If you can't get the Besiktas team, you're struggling, aren't you?
Yeah. What's your thoughts, Eve?
Yeah, it's sad because he had all that potential and we haven't seen that since probably that first breakout season at Spurs. He went to the Euros with England, obviously lost to Iceland, which was a big result. But then, after that, he hasn't really resurrected his career in some sort of way. I thought that Everton move, what was it, 40 million to Everton?
Yeah, 40 million. 40 million.
Yeah, it was big money.
Money.
And obviously under Lampard, who you would say was quite similar box-to-box player, get into the box, get goals. And you thought, oh, there's potential here, him resurrecting it, and just didn't happen. He didn't get enough game time. And they were obviously in that relegation battle last season, so that didn't help. But yeah, Besiktas, we obviously don't watch Turkish football over here, so we don't know how he's performed over there, but not really heard anything really. So it's disappointing, so disappointing to be at that age, and you thought he would be holding this English midfield. You would think he would be playing today for England against Ukraine, and he hasn't. He's not even in the squad. So
it's funny because in that World Cup, you look at two of our main players, Ali and Lingard.
I was just about to say that. I was just about to say that 2018 World Cup Russia. I was just about to say that. Yeah,
they were the first two, weren't they?
Yeah,
they were the two.
Beautiful.
And they were. And Lingard scored that phenomenal goal.
Yeah.
And it's just again falling off a cliff. He's still playing the Premier League, but
he barely plays now, though.
Has he scored for the Forest? He might have got one or two.
I don't think he scored in the Prem. No, I don't think he scored.
He barely plays now. Yeah,
he scored in League Cup competitions, I think.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the table now. Ideally, I'm looking at the lower 10 teams. And I was just thinking, what team does Dele Alli make it into? Like, I don't know if would Villa take him. I think Palace would take him. I don't know if Villa would take him. Would Wolves take him? Leeds would probably take him. Everton wouldn't. Would Forest take him? Would Leicester take him? West Ham, Bournemouth, Southampton. The only teams that jump out to mind that would possibly take Lingard if he was to remain in the Premier League, I'd see Bournemouth possibly. I'd see Palace, maybe Fulham.
Yeah, I'd say he gets in the majority of those, but it's his reputation that's a
Wages
bit ruined now. Obviously the price for him will go down now. It's one of those situations like maybe Adel Taarabt, would you say, was similar? Yeah. He had all that potential.
Yeah.
And he sort of resurrected his career at Benfica. Now he's a holding midfielder. So
Harry
similar in a way.
Redknapp said he's one of the best players he's ever had, didn't he?
Yeah.
Taarabt is a street legend, bruv. Him and Ben Arthur are two guys. I could watch them play football all day, every day.
Yeah.
Like their skills on the pitch were absolutely phenomenal. I think it was Neil Warnock who told a funny story.
Neil Warnock, that was it, yeah.
He told a funny story about Taarabt saying He had to go back to France for a funeral or something, not knowing that the player liaisons had his passport, and said to him, Tarap, how was France? Sorry. He said, yeah, Gaffer, it was good. It's good. Oh, so you don't want this then? He gave him back the passport.
Do you know, it reminds me a little bit of not as probably not the same league as Tarak, but have you watched Sheffield United? You seen that kid for Sheffield United?
Yeah. Ndiaye, yeah.
Ndiaye, he is a player, that kid. He's very similar with, like you say about street football, cage football. He seems like he's played that. He's close control's unbelievable.
I want to talk about Erling Haaland and his goal record because it's absolutely crazy. But I think we have to put things into context because when people comparing it with like players of yesteryear and stuff and the strikers, the game of football today is a different game of football. The likes of Alan Shearer was playing Robbie Fowler, Henry and stuff like that, because it's more offensive based now, isn't it? Whereas before it was like the defensive blocks and stuff like that. Because, for example, you got fullbacks now that if they can't, progress the ball forward and like get like 5+ assists a year, they're deemed as bad fullbacks. So yeah, I just want to like, what was your thoughts on him in terms of comparing him to the historical great guys? Is it fair to compare, or would you have to say it's two different types of football being played?
Yeah, I think the latter. I think it is that two different type of games now. You see, like you said, it's very more offensive.
Yeah,
like you said, wing backs bombing on, trying to get crosses in, getting those assists. You remember the likes of Trent that season where he was getting 15+ assists, and they were like, he's the next big thing. This is how a fullback should be playing the game. So yeah, I think it's a different type of game. I don't like this comparison of players. I don't think Haaland's just a beast. He's not human. He's just I don't know what he is. He's just unbelievable. That's what he is.
But the funny thing you're talking about that, if he was around early 90s, 80s, something like that, because there was a lot more long balls. So you play 4-4. Everyone played 4-4-2. So you'd be two strikers up there. He would be used as a target man and for flicking on. So whoever he'd be playing with would be scoring more goals than him.
Yeah.
So you're exactly right. The way that football has evolved, he would just be. You'd think this 6'3", 6'4", whatever he is, as strong as an ox. They'd knock it out to him. He'd flick it on for the little man next to him who would go and score 20, 25 goals a season. Haaland might get a few from set pieces or whatever. So it is unfair to compare. Yeah, but he's a freak. He's an absolute freak, isn't he?
Yeah, because his record right now, all competitions for Man City, 37 games, 42 goals, 5 assists. That's bloody crazy. And we're not even out of March yet.
But you know what's crazy? That he's got that record, and the highest goal scorer at Arsenal's got 12? A Saka, maybe? Is it 12?
Something like that. Yeah,
and we're 8 points ahead of them.
Yeah.
How on earth does that work? It's madness.
Because I was just like, because again, we'll touch on this later in terms of best eras of football. Ruud van Nistelrooy in the Premier League, 150 appearances, 95 goals. That's an insane record. But people like his name's often like left out of these conversations. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like in terms of comparing it to like the historical great guys, it just doesn't seem fair. But if he continues at the trajectory that he is going down, I just think the in the times that we're living in, people will regard him as the greatest 9 of all time, possibly just because he's just a sheer gold machine, which I've somewhat alluded to in the past as well. But I
mean, what will he get? 50 this season?
He'll get more than 50
if he's going the way he's going. Will he get more than 50? Yeah.
In the Premier League already, he's got Oh, do you mean all comps or do you mean just Prem?
Well, all competition. He won't get 50 in the Prem, will he? Or will he?
No. In the Prem right now, he's got 28.
28 with 10 games to go.
Yeah, so he might get to like maybe 36.
Yeah, you're looking at a goal a game. If he gets a goal a game,
bloody hell.
Yeah, 36, 38 goals.
Oh.
So and then, he'll get 50 then, won't he? All competitions.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Still in the FA Cup. Still in the FA Cup. Still in the Champions League.
And in the Champions League is 6 games, 10 goals.
And he's got a potential of what? 5 more games?
Yeah.
In the Champions League.
This guy's a beast, man. This guy's an absolute beast. Mesut Özil has retired from full football He was at what? Schalke, Werder Bremen, Real Madrid, Arsenal. From Arsenal, where did he go? Was it Fenerbahce? Fenerbahce,
Yeah.
and then to another team as well. And what do you make of Ozil's tenure at Arsenal?
Mate, do you remember the day we signed him?
Oh, it was hectic. Yeah, I remember that. 40 million man.
Yeah, it was. I think we had Tottenham on the Sunday, and I mean the famous interview now when they said to Arsene Wenger, "What's going to be happening tomorrow?"
We'll see.
And he just done that little smile and said,
Yeah.
"We'll see."
We'll see.
And
yeah.
it was just because we hadn't won a league for a little while. You just thought he was the final piece. We had Giroud up front. He needed someone to feed him. You could see Giroud could score goals. Just needed someone to feed him. And you thought, "Oh my God, this is it. Final piece of jigsaw." And I remember his debut, Sunderland away. I was working. I was on EastEnders at the time, and I remember coming through. Giroud had scored, and all I wanted to see was who got the assist. I didn't care who scored. And Özil got the assist. I thought, yeah, this is it. This is it. And he was just so in and out. When he was good, he was unbelievable. When he was no good, and people say, look, he weren't lazy. It was the way he played. One of the last games he played for Arsenal, I was there. He'd come on in the Europa League. Maybe this is what it was because he'd come on in the Europa League as sub, and he did not want to know. He didn't want to know, and it weren't the way he played. It weren't because he looks like he's being lazy the way he runs. He didn't want to know, and it's just such a shame. He was phenomenal. He's phenomenal, but then Real Madrid don't sell their best players. They must have seen something.
What attitude
You know what I
reckon?
mean?
Yeah.
Must have been because, and that was part of the excitement as well. You thought, oh my God, he was on paper one of Real Madrid's best players.
Ronaldo was very upset when they sold him. Ronaldo was very upset when they sold him.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, and I remember thinking, well, a Real Madrid player has chose Arsenal over Real Madrid. Like, this is incredible. But there must have been something there for them to say, yeah, go for, what was it, 40 mil, you say?
Yeah, 40 million, yeah.
They must have known. But like I say, when he was good, he was unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Did he get to Arsenal at the wrong time?
What was he when he joined? 27-ish?
No, I mean, I'm talking about like Arsenal culture from top down.
Possibly.
Him and Alexis, because they never really built the squad. Like, he never had a Thomas Partey. He had a Sanchez.
No, possibly, yeah.
But he got Aubameyang a bit later. You know what I mean? He never had a Saka. He never had a complete backline like we do now. So yeah, I just feel like it's one of those ones. I'm a big Özil guy. I didn't really like how he was treated on the way out, but we don't need to touch on that. But yeah, I just feel like he got to Arsenal at the wrong time. They didn't really build a squad around him. Gazidas and all them boys there they ran the club horribly, didn't they? And I mean, some of the contracts that we signed.
Gazidas talked a good game, didn't he? When we moved into the Emirates, we're going to be challenging with everybody, and then we're getting beat 5-0 by Bayern Munich every time we play them. You know what I mean? It was. Yeah. It just shows you now, and that's what it is. When you look back now, where we are now, it just needed a bit of stability, strong leadership. Really get rid of Deadwood. I mean, it's still a process. He's still getting rid of. We got 25 players out on loan. A lot of them won't be coming back. It's still a process of getting rid of Deadwood, and that's probably what he's talking about. The stages we're going through. Part of the plan, part of the process. And that's what I'm saying about Tottenham as well. You need to strip it all back. Just look at what you've got and what you need, and then build. And if it takes 3-4 years, it takes 3-4 years.
Another thing on the Premier League. If you're making an all-time Premier League team, does Cristiano Ronaldo make it, taking into consideration his best years weren't in the Premier League? Like, the last 2 years were phenomenal, but his best years were Real Madrid and Juventus. If I'll start with you first.
Yeah, I think I would have him in. Just because of that season he had before the Real Madrid move. Yeah. I think that led up to his greatness. So I would have him in there.
What about you, Ant?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. That last season was frightening, man. It was frightening. The season before the last one, he was unbelievable. And I touched on it earlier when Ferguson said, just give me one more. One more year, then you can go Real Madrid. And, some people might salt, didn't get their dream move, but he went to another level.
Yeah.
And you hear people talking about him, never and all that, and about his training. He wanted it. He wanted it so bad. And going back to Dele Alli, I know he's not in that league, but if you don't want it, you don't want it. And he wanted it, Ronaldo, and he didn't sulk, and he was phenomenal. It has to be in them. It has to be in the all-time.
Does Gareth Bale make it? Does Gareth Bale make the all-time Premier League team?
Go on, Heath.
Nah, I wouldn't have him in, to be fair.
Ooh, big statement. That.
Yeah, no, because he didn't win anything at Spurs.
Yeah.
I think you have to. I think you have to win something to be in the the all-time great Premier League side.
What about you?
I'll go along with that. Actually. Yeah. And when you do this all-time great sides, and I mean, when you do it yourself, do you do it at positions? Do you actually try and fit a team in? Or
I try to fit a team. I try to fit a team in. Yeah,
you have.
That's
to.
what I mean. I try and do that. If you got Ronaldo, Bale don't make it for me.
No.
Yeah. And then ending with football, you alluded to this earlier, but Ant, what would you deem as the best era of football?
Well, mine, I'm going to sound well old now because I used to I don't even know if he was alive when I talk about my one, but my one has a lot to do with international football as well. So mine would have been 90s, right through from the start of the 90s. The World Cup, Italy 1990 was an unbelievable World Cup. Phenomenal, where you talk about television and stuff like that. There was only 4 channels, and there was no Netflix. There was no even computers. People weren't sitting in their room all day playing computers. The World Cup was huge. That was the first one I properly remember. I sort of remember 86 when the Maradona handballed it, but 1990, and then you go through to 96. Euro 96 was a great summer. It was just brilliant. London, because it was in England. London was absolutely buzzing. And then in 96, Arsene Wenger came. And everything changed for Arsenal. We had some real shit years before that. And then he came and changed everything. 98 won the double. So for me, if I could do a whole decade, it would be the 90s for me.
And when you think of that era, what are like some key players that stick out in your mind?
Internationally, Gaza was 90.
How good was he? How good was he though? Like, because I never got to watch him. How good was he?
90 was incredible. And because you didn't see as much football as you do now, right? So I hadn't seen Gaza play that much. It sounds silly, but you'd have one live game on a week on a Sunday. Match of the day, you'd always still watch match of the day, but you still, I was only 10 or whatever at the time, but I didn't know too much about him. And then we played Holland in the World Cup. We drew 0-0, don't get me wrong. We did, but he was doing Cruyff turns and all that. An English player hadn't done a Cruyff turn ever, I don't think. He was just incredible. And then 96, he carried it on in 96. He was unbelievable. But then club-wise, Ian Wright. And then Ian Wright was unbelievable. He was my hero, Ian Wright. I absolutely loved him. Yeah. And then Bergkamp come along, and that was it. I've never seen anything like it when Bergkamp come along. And that was all in the 90s. So for me, 1990s for me.
What about you, Eve?
Yeah, it's probably past that. Probably the early years when Chelsea were good. I think probably the Jose Mourinho era where he changed everything, came in, won the double. We got the League Cup and Premier League that season. I think we only lost one game in that season as well. And then 2005, 2006 also. Yeah, that team also was just amazing. I think we got Sean Wright-Phillips that season. I think Sean Wright-Phillips was one of the players that I really enjoyed watching at City.
He was lightning fast, man. He was so just fast.
Some of the goals as well he scored, like outside as well. You wouldn't have expected it from a winger, but I used to love Sean Wright-Phillips and Joe Cole, Damien Duff.
We had
who was it? Arjen Robben as well that came as well. So those wingers at that time at Chelsea, it was amazing to watch.
Damien Duff, I used to love watching him play football. I thought he had such a good close ball control. I had his poster in my room. For me, I'm going to say between 2000 and 2010. Just because, like, I remember I started watching football about 4 or 5 years old. That's like 99. And that's like the year. I remember when I first started really watching Arsenal and I was thinking, this guy Thierry Henry is just absolutely phenomenal. But then you had R9, then you had Zidane, then you had Totti, you had Verratti, you had Del Piero, Trezeguet. Pretty sure I said Zidane. I remember being in school, and they allowed us time off class to watch England Brazil 2002.
Oh yeah.
And I remember Ronaldinho's free kick against David Seaman, and I've been in awe with Brazil ever since. I remember they were wearing the blue kit And David Seaman was an Arsenal goalkeeper, Arsenal legend. And I just thought, wow, that guy shot it from far. And the ball went high. I remember the ball was a high free kick. And then I was just thinking, what the hell? And then me and my buddy did the Ronaldo haircut. And then like you're saying, Arsenal were on fire. And then, the old guard started to transition out. And then we had this guy called Cesc Fabregas, who was just phenomenal. Van Persie dealing with his injuries, but eventually got there. Yeah, for me, I'd say 2000, 2010. And I just think nowadays when people say world class, they throw around that word too much.
Yeah.
The guys of that era were phenomenal. Like even last night I was rewatching the Liverpool AC Milan final when they were down 3-0. Like Steven Gerrard, what he did. Yeah. But then even before that AC Milan team, how they lost, I don't know. They had Pirlo, they had Cafu, they had Kaká, they had Crespo, they had Shevchenko.
Yeah, Crespo.
What was the goalkeeper's name? That Dida, whatever his name.
Dida, yeah.
These guys are world-class guys, but people never really mention them. So like it kind of irritates me when people say so-and-so is world-class. I'm like, are we just saying that? Or do you really mean it? Because world-class is... These guys are god tier footballers. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, absolutely crazy. Anything else football before we talk a little nonsense talk?
Yeah, can I ask one question?
Yeah, go on.
For both of you, right? I was going to ask this ages ago, Ed. I said to you, I want to ask this. Who is radio and television? I don't know if you listen to TalkSport or listen to the radio at all. Who do you think is the best pundit? A football pundit, whether it be radio, television, best as in, got the whole package, where I think it's important as well to sometimes be light-hearted with things, not too serious all the time, give proper information, easy to understand. Who do you think's the best? Eve, who's your favourite?
Eve, you go first.
I don't know whether you like this, Ed, but I like Jamie Carragher. I think he's a very good pundit.
Yeah.
Very good pundit. He brings out facts. He's lighter-hearted as well. He can have his comical side with obviously Micah and Thierry Henry, I think, on CBS. But
I like him on CBS. I do like him on CBS.
Yeah, I just think he presents him, even with the Scouse accent, I think he presents himself quite well. He's just always on point, and I don't think he's ever kind of wrong with some of the takes that he has.
I've got a couple answers. Now, this one was surprising for me, myself, because I texted it to you, and Simon Jordan is a guy I've come to somewhat like.
I'm obsessed by him, man. I'm obsessed by him.
And I never used to like him. I never used to like Simon Jordan, but I've somewhat come to like Simon Jordan. I think Micah Richards from a comedic side is something that is refreshing.
Yes.
And who else do I like? I think Mercer's just banter.
It is banter, yeah.
It's just banter. And then, like, overall package. Oh.
Keane, no one said Roy Keane.
Yeah, I'm
thinking Keane. I'm thinking Roy Keane. And people may think I'm being biased, but I'm not. I think Thierry's all right, to be honest. I do think he is all right on the show. Just because...
He had that little stint at the Sky, didn't he, Henry?
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was then. Did he go Belgium or he went? I don't know. He went into management. Then he went to Monaco.
I think Thierry's all right. To be fair, I do like Thierry on CBS. To me, I do like the whole CBS. And obviously, I got a crush on Kate Abdo, don't I? So
everyone has it.
Yeah. So I do like.
But I think it's important to have the right level of every now and then throw in a little joke and have a little laugh because but as long as you get your points across, listen, Neville probably is the best tactically and things like that, but he's not got. I like what Ethan said. Carragher's got that, and he can have a little laugh every now and then. Yeah. But Simon Jordan, I love Simon Jordan, man. I can listen to him all day long. He will start talking about a subject where I've got the complete opposite view to him, and I think he's never gonna turn me on this one. 5 minutes later, I'm going, oh my God, he's right. I'm wrong.
What did you think about him and Eddie Hearn this week?
I thought it was the best hour of radio I've ever heard. It was absolutely brilliant because they're both so intelligent in their field.
Both
Yeah.
very successful in their fields as well.
Successful, very charismatic, both of them, and I thought it was brilliant. There was parts talking about contractual things that I didn't really understand, but I love it. I love listening to people who are experts in their field, even if I don't understand what they're talking about. I love listening to people who know what they're talking about in their field, and I thought it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. I do like them lots, because Eddie Hearn's been getting a lot of slack recently because of the Lawrence Okoli and stuff like that, which I did watch the fight yesterday. It was a good fight.
Did you think it was good last night?
Considering he's been out for a year.
Yeah, he's had a year out.
I think that the first 6 rounds were good, but then you can see like he was gassing a bit, especially when he tried to go for the KO and that light. He's got a strong chin, man. He's got a strong chin.
Yeah. He just kept walking forward as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
I was gutted about the Fraser Clark fight before. I was looking forward to Fraser Clark. Did you watch that?
No, which one was the 2 heavyweights?
The 2 heavyweights, yeah. They clashed heads. He cut his head bad, Fraser Clark, but then he was hitting a lot of big. I don't know if he was like from Georgia or Ukraine or something. Big, massive fella, and he just kept hitting him with body shots, Fraser Clark. And it went to the break after the 2nd or 3rd round. Come back from the break and it was over. Like he didn't get off his stool. He broke his ribs.
Yeah. Because I had changed channel to watch the boxing on BT, and then I've come back, and then it's like, he's getting out the ring and he's taking a photo. I'm like, what?
Yeah. He sat down on his stool and he said to the ref, "He's broke my ribs. I can't continue." Like he couldn't breathe. So
gutted.
Yeah.
Eve, did you watch any of the boxing?
No, I haven't. To be fair, I got back quite late. I was in Nottingham yesterday. Met up with Charlie and Cara because they're going on their travels.
Nice.
So yeah, met up with them, and I was knackered when I got back. We got back around 8, and I fell asleep early.
Yeah, cool. All right, cool. I think we might as well just wrap up there. There's other topics. We'll leave it for next time you're on. And it's been episode 62. Our lead podcast. I'm on after the duo Eds alongside my co-host, my brother, my brethren, Ethan. Most people that are watching this on YouTube, they're not subscribed, so subscribe, people. Like, what are you doing? Same on the TikToks and stuff. And pleasure as always, buddy.
Thank you, boys. I really enjoyed it. Thanks, mate.
Yeah,